It's extremely common to hear that you need to lift lighter weights and focus on the muscle in order to build muscle mass. I want to find out, can we build muscle mass solely focusing on getting stronger? When you do a quick Google search, you'll find very distinct rep ranges based on your goal. If you want to get strong, we're talking 1 to 5 reps. If you want to build muscle, we're talking 8 to 12 reps. Muscular endurance, we're talking 15 reps or more. But is this the truth, and does this tell the whole story? Before we dive into the science, let's talk about some of the legends of different sports. First of all, you've got Ronnie Coleman, who lifted very, very heavy weight in preparation for the Olympia. We also have Larry Wheels, who was absolutely shredded and huge, but mostly focused just on getting stronger. These two guys might be exceptions to any rule based on their genetics and generally how they train, but we also have strongmen. Mariusz Pudzianowski, absolutely shredded when he won his World's Strongest Man titles. While I'm not shredded to the bone like those guys might be, and I don't have six-packs abs like those guys might have, I started my strength journey when I was a 220-pound marathon runner. I finished my 3rd marathon and I decided that I'm going into the world of strength training just to experience what that might feel like. I went from 220 pounds to 265 pounds when I did powerlifting. I went all the way up to 320 pounds, where I am now in strongman, and I think my body fat probably went from 15% when I was running to maybe 22% now. So I've clearly added a heap of muscle mass during my time in that 1 to 5 rep range. But let's go all the way back to how muscles grow in the first place. There's really 3 drivers of muscle growth. 1 is mechanical tension, 2 is metabolic stress, and 3 is muscular damage. Now, obviously, not every training methodology is going to stress all 3 of these out at the same time, and different professional bodybuilders use different methods of training and different rep ranges for them to be able to get the same results. I think where we get to the 8 to 12 rep range is that it's heavy enough that you get some mechanical tension, and it's light enough that we get some metabolic stress. Really, this could be argued as the best of both worlds. But just the same as we wouldn't advocate for going for a run while you're trying to get as strong as possible, and we wouldn't ask you to get as strong as possible while going for a run, when you try to focus on 2 things at the same time, it can result in you spinning your wheels. Meaning that's probably important to incorporate a whole range of rep ranges. 1 to 5 reps is going to cover the mechanical tension side, where we're just pulling as hard as we can on the muscle, and the body responds to whatever stimulus we put it under, and now it's going to think, I need to get bigger. By proxy, you're also going to get stronger because now we're creating better recruitment patterns for our muscles, and then you're able to lift more weight. We also don't want to ignore high rep ranges because that's where we're going to get primarily metabolic stress. Now, it's also where we're going to increase our work capacity, where if you only ever worked in 1 to 5 rep ranges, over time, you're going to get less and less fit and less able to handle high volumes. This is why powerlifters in the open class, generally speaking, are larger, have higher body fat percentages than, say, Ninja Warrior athletes who are doing very, very high reps all day. But the chances are that you're on my channel not just because you want to get bigger, but you also want to get stronger. I'm not the best bodybuilder in the world, I'm the best strongman in the world. So let's talk about the ways in which you can get stronger while you build muscle. Now, obviously, I cannot make this video without talking about nutrition, and I'll keep it light, I'll keep it easy. Protein is used to build muscle, excess calories are used to get bigger. Therefore, if you eat high calories, you eat high protein, that is gonna help you out. While that could be a whole nother separate video, I've just dropped Muscle Building 2.0, where you're able to get 12 weeks of education on everything relating to building muscle while getting stronger, and you have a 12-week program running alongside. If you wanna check that out, link is in the description. So let's get to the meat of what we're talking about. How to build muscle while getting stronger. If I'm looking at a week of training, the first thing that I'm talking about is the #1 variable to muscle growth, which is the intensity and the volume. We're talking about total weekly volume. It matters substantially less how you choose to break this up over the week, and it actually primarily depends on your schedule and what works for your life. For me, 4 days a week works plenty for the vast majority of people, so long as you can get full workouts in. If you have a busy schedule at work, you could always do Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, and have 2 training days during the week. If you have more of a relaxed schedule and the gym fits into your work schedule, you could do Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. In the end, get 4 days of training in. When people talk about rest days and when rest days should be, I am firmly a believer that it should be based on your life and when you're able to handle that training. If you wake up or you had a bad sleep or something stressful happened, you're just not feeling good to go to the gym today, that's a really good idea that you should probably just hold off and wait till the next day. Now, with those 4 days of training, we're going to start with what are our compound movements for the day. These big, heavy compound movements are going to be the drivers of your muscle growth because we're working on tension, mechanical tension, and that's going to be coming against a resistance. So we're going to take those 4 days. Generally speaking, we would do 2 upper body days, 2 lower body days. We have 4 days of training. Of those lower body days, it makes sense to have 1 dedicated to deadlifts and 1 day dedicated to squats. On upper body days, it makes sense to have 1 focus on overhead and 1 focus on horizontal pushing. Now again, this is not a strongman specific program. This is about building muscle in every possible movement pattern. Now on your deadlift day, we're going to stick in the 1 to 5 rep range because we're going to build muscle while getting stronger. So something like a 3x5 deadlift would make sense. Then we walk down and do our accessories. Our accessories on a hinge pattern day are going to be anything where we're tipping our chest down to the ground, or in other words, using our posterior chain. We could go to glute ham raises. We could go to hip thrusts. We could go to back extensions. And to be honest with you, it matters substantially less than you think. We'll talk about that in a minute, but let's kick on to the next day. Let's say we go from that to our overhead day. We then have overhead pressing and overhead pulling as our compound movements where we're moving both the elbow and shoulder joint. Then we'll go on to our tricep, our shoulder, our bicep work. And this is where we don't want to work in the 1 to 3 rep range. You probably want to work higher in the 6 to 8 rep range. Okay, we still need a high level of tension, but that level of tension in relative terms, we don't need to be as intense and as high as we do in compound lifts. Moving on to our squat day, anything where our knees bend is a squat. A lunge is a squat pattern. A front squat is a squat. A back squat obviously is a squat. A leg press is a squat. Choose one of those major exercises. Again, work in the 1 to 5 rep range, depending on your experience level, depending what you're comfortable and confident with. Then any squat pattern after, a Bulgarian split squat, walking lunges, leg extensions, all work anterior chain and your squat pattern. We're going to round out the week and we're going to do horizontal day, meaning push and pull. Push being a bench press, a seated chest press, a dumbbell bench press. Pull being seated row, being bent over row, anything where you're pulling weight towards you. Our accessories are just like day 2. We're talking biceps, triceps, and shoulders. Some of this depends on your individual experience level and how much volume you can tolerate. Now, the most important variable in any rep range when you're trying to build muscle is intensity. If we're not working in an 8, 9, 10 intensity where you're pushing really heavy weight and working close to your maximum capability, you're going to be leaving a lot of meat on the table. We can boil this down into 3 really simple tips. Number 1, make sure that you're training hard. Intensity has to be 8, 9, 10, very, very hard. 2 is focus that high intensity work on compound movements. And number 3, make sure you're eating in a calorie surplus and eating lots of protein. As a general guide, 2 grams per pound of body weight is a great place to start. I hope that gives you guys a general structure for how to build muscle while getting stronger. And again, if you want this all sorted for you, you want to follow a dedicated program, and you want to learn a little bit alongside, the link is in the description for Muscle Building 2.0, which is there to help you if this isn't enough. But as always, regardless if you're trying to get bigger, you're trying to get leaner, you're trying to get faster, anything, never forget, lift heavy, be kind. There's people in the gym not as confident as you. Do what you can to make them smile. Do what you can to make them feel welcome. And we'll catch you in the next video. Thanks a lot for watching.